Hello, friends. I'm Ji Hay, and I'm so excited to be with you today here from the Show It Studios. We have a phenomenal webinar today with our girl, Leah Mancuso. She is a local Phoenix photographer. And so as you guys are coming in, we always love to interact in the chat. So let us know where you're from. And also today's random question of the day, because Leah and I had lunch a couple of weeks ago, or actually months now, I think. We went to a restaurant here in the Phoenix area. It's called Spinato's. It is amazing. It's Italian. And so we went with our friends Kiana and Nicole. And so we're just sitting here having lunch. And I was like, oh, I love Spinato's, all this stuff. And I don't know, I think it's Sicilian or something. And then all of a sudden, all three of the women were like, oh, yeah, I'm Sicilian or I'm Italian. I was like, I don't know how I didn't realize all three of you were Italian. And so there we were, three Italians and a Korean. And it felt like a joke. I couldn't come up with a punchline for it. But anyways, I would love to hear what your favorite Italian dish is. I personally love lasagna, but really like anything baked with cheese on it is magic. Man, well, look at us. We have so many Arizona friends here. Another Christine, you love Spinato's. We should definitely eat lunch one time. So fun. Amsterdam in the house. Love it. Welcome, welcome. And so friends, we have a ton of webinars on our YouTube channel. So if you are like sitting around and you're like, oh, I would just love to learn more things, then you can check out our YouTube channel. And if you're on today and you're like, man, I have to leave in like 20 minutes, but I don't want to miss anything, you can rewatch this at this link that you're at right now. When we're done, it just comes back on and it's a replay and you can watch it a million times. And I bet you're going to want to, because Leah is going to share so much amazing information with us. So friends, thanks again. Keep telling us, oh, Italian ice, also a strong Italian dish. So that is fantastic, Jordan. Welcome Denver and Vancouver. Oh man, look how international we are. And pizza, yes, 1,000,000% pizza. And man, you guys are fun. I'm excited for today. So if you have any questions along the way while Leah is talking, feel free to throw it in the chat. I will check the questions. I will write them down. I will send them to our producer, Jed. He's going to throw them on the screen and Leah will get to them. And so the beautiful thing about Leah is she is not a Pinterest strategist. So we have had a Pinterest strategist on our webinars before. Her name's Vanessa Kynes. She was amazing. But I love that Leah has gone from 10,000 monthly views. If you're on Pinterest, you understand what the views numbers are, right? And so she went from 10,000 views to 1,000,000 in less than a year, which is nuts because I've tried. I run Show It's Pinterest and it's not near 1,000,000. So I'm going to learn some stuff today too. But Leah is going to share a ton with us. And so, like I said, she's a local Arizona photographer. She does families and portraits and all of those amazing, beautiful things. But she is going to share with us from like a non-strategist viewpoint on how we can all successfully get to where she is at now. And so I'm super excited for today's webinar. So give it up for our girl, Leah.
Hi. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to get started and to be able to share with you what has worked for me. And I hope that it can work for you as well. So we are going to go ahead and dive in and get started here. So Pinterest for your business. I'm going to be sharing how I grew my Pinterest account from 10K monthly viewers to over 1 million in less than 6 months. And like Ji-Hye said, I am not a Pinterest expert. So you're going to be getting some advice and tips from someone who doesn't claim to know all the things about Pinterest. But I'm going to be sharing what worked for me and how I was able to make Pinterest become one of my top lead sources and get an over 8,000% return on my investment. I can't guarantee that I will be sharing the absolute best way to do things. I haven't done all the research that comes with being a Pinterest expert, but I'm going to share what has worked for me. I also know that it can be helpful to learn how great Pinterest can be for your business, but it takes more time and energy and effort to actually get started. So during this webinar, I'm going to show you step by step how to actually get started so you know exactly what to do from here with the information that you'll be learning. I'm Leah. I already said that. I am a family and portrait photographer. I like to joke that I'll do any type of session that can be rescheduled. I don't reschedule them. I show up where I say I'm going to show up, but it gives me a little peace of mind knowing that my sessions could be rescheduled if need be. So I do family, maternity, newborn, high school seniors, couples, headshots, branding, all those types of sessions, no weddings or events for me. And that is just how I keep my life stress-free, because I love a stress-free life. I am also an educator and a mentor. I love doing one-on-one mentoring with photographers who are either at the beginning of their journey or feeling stuck with where they are now. I grew really slow as a photographer. I just wasn't in a hurry to get anywhere. I wasn't planning to build a career out of this. And so I grew slow, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now I want to be able to help people get where they want to go faster than I did. I love joyful and vibrant photos. They are my specialty. All the bright and happy colors and laughter-filled photos. That is what brings me so much joy. And then I'm also a lover of rain and Starbucks. I just wanted to throw in a couple of random facts for you there, because why not? If you live somewhere besides Phoenix, you might not understand why someone would love rain. We don't get it very often here. Thankfully, we have gotten a lot this summer, but normally we don't. So I love rain. Any chance that I get to be in it, it's my favorite. And then I love Starbucks. So that's just part of it, who I am too. I'm going to share a little bit about my Pinterest experience with you. I started pinning regularly in March 2020. I don't know if you remember what was going on then. Some of us found ourselves with a little bit of time on our hands. So I decided to just go for it, see what this whole Pinterest thing was about. And so that's what I did. At that time, I had a business account. I wasn't really posting on it. I had posted a couple things. So I technically had 10K monthly viewers at the time that I started pinning regularly. And from there, I went to over 1 million monthly viewers in less than 6 months through organic reach only. I also reached 2.7 million monthly views within 1 year of pinning regularly. So I reached that this past spring. It might be helpful to note, Pinterest changed up their monthly view count that they show on people's business pages. So they used to show monthly viewers, and then while I was pinning regularly, they switched to show monthly views. So I did reach over 1 million monthly viewers, then they switched to show monthly views, and that's when I ended up reaching 2.7 million monthly views, which is bizarre. My view count has gone back down a bit since summer is just a little bit slower in general for everyone. And truthfully, I haven't been practicing what I'm preaching as much as I should be. But I will say this is why I love Pinterest, because even though I haven't been pinning regularly again in like 9 months, Pinterest is still working for me because of the momentum that I built up from last year. So although I do not recommend halting your Pinterest game when you're going and you're pinning regularly, I am amazed that it has continued to bring me business even when I haven't given that much time to it in a while. I have also received over 8,000% return on my investment in under a year. And the only investment that I've made is Tailwind, which is a scheduling app that pins for me. I have never paid to promote pins or paid for ads on Pinterest. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure that works great. I just haven't done that yet. Pinterest is the number one thing driving traffic to my website currently. It is also helping me get higher up in Google searches through Pinterest links. So if someone is searching something on Google, my photo might show up, but it's not my photo from my website. It's my photo from Pinterest, because Pinterest has better SEO than I do, I'm sure. So then people can find that photo through Pinterest and then still be brought back to my website. it is also my number one lead source outside of word of mouth. So outside of client and photographer referrals, Pinterest is currently bringing me the most leads. And I have had an Instagram account and a Facebook page for way longer, and I have not had as much success in the same amount of time that I have had with Pinterest. And I give a lot to Instagram. That is definitely where I put most of my time when it comes to marketing strategies. And it does bring me leads, but it hasn't brought me the same amount of leads that Pinterest has brought me in this same amount of time. Pinterest is also my most booked lead source. So I am getting the most conversions from the people that are finding me on Pinterest. Here is a graphic of my Pinterest analytics, just in case you thought I was making everything up. We might not know each other very well yet. I am an honest person, so these are my graphics. My analytics in a graphic. As you can see, in March is when I started pinning regularly, and it starts going up from there. By June, I reached over 1 million monthly viewers, and in July, I officially booked my first client from Pinterest, which was super exciting. So like I said, I don't promise that I will be showing you the absolute best way or the most popular way to make Pinterest work for your business, but I will be showing you what worked for me, how I was able to make this happen for me, because I do think it could work for you too. Because I don't think I'm the exception. I don't know that I am that special. So I do think that what I did can work for you too. So let's get into why Pinterest. I get it. As a business owner, there are already so many things that we have to try to keep up with. Do you really need to add one more thing to your plate? And I'm going to tell you, you should add Pinterest to your plate, because Pinterest is a search engine. So like Google, people can search for your content on Pinterest at any time. And if people are searching for the content that you're putting out there, Pinterest is going to push your content out to them for you. So unlike Facebook and Instagram, people are often finding your content months after you've posted it through searching. This shows the average lifespan for an individual piece of content across various apps, platforms, and websites. As you can see, I don't know if a ton of people use Twitter for their business, but as you can see, Twitter has the smallest lifespan at 15 minutes. TikTok's lifespan is 30 minutes, unless it goes viral, then I think it lasts for a while. Facebook, 6 hours. Instagram, a piece of content might get some traction for up to 48 hours. Pinterest, your content is getting traction, more views, still growing for around 4 months. And then as you can see, a blog will be the best return on your investment of time, and it will have a lifespan of a year or more. So let's talk about the pros of using Pinterest. Also, I want to say, so all the photos that you'll see in this presentation are my most pinned, saved, viewed photos. And they're not all necessarily the ones that I would have thought would be the most pinned. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well, why it's important to just put as much content out there as you can. So one of the pros is followers don't carry much weight. So unlike Instagram, where followers seem to be everything, Pinterest doesn't even really give insights or analytics, particularly pertaining to followers. When I started pinning regularly in March, I maybe had 10 followers. So followers are not essential. You don't need them for new people to find you. And then even then, I only had maybe a couple hundred by the time I reached 1 million monthly viewers. Also, you don't have to be clever or cute. Not that you aren't. I'm sure that you are both clever and cute. But you know how on Instagram and Facebook, sometimes we go to post and then we get paralyzed thinking about what we're going to write in the caption. That isn't a problem on Instagram, which is really nice to not have to think about that. Also, it's not really social media. So yes, you can follow people, comment on pins, save pins, but being social is not necessary or even necessarily encouraged on Pinterest. It's not really about connecting with people. It's about sharing valuable content to help people. So the basis of Pinterest is to have a library of content rather than Instagram or Facebook, where maybe the basis is keeping people up to date on our lives and our business and actually being social. You can also batch your content months worth at a time. So when I was starting to pin regularly in March last year, I ended up batching about 6 months worth of content, which I don't necessarily recommend. I spent 3 full days and got 6 months of content set up in my Tailwind. And so then I didn't have to touch it for 6 months. Tailwind scheduled my pins for me and put it all out there. I didn't even have to think about it. I don't necessarily recommend doing 6 months at a time. I would probably do 3 months at a time, maybe 4. And even then with that, you know that means you only need to be checking in 3 to 4 times a year to invest more time into pinning regularly, and then Tailwind or Planoly or whatever your scheduling app is will push it out for you. Also, it is less work in the long run, which brings me to my only con, which is it is more work upfront at the beginning, getting started, especially if you don't already have a blog. So from here, I'm going to walk you through everything that I did to grow my Pinterest, starting with how to set up your account. Because what is the point of knowing how great Pinterest can be for you and for your business if you don't also know how to get started utilizing it? Getting started. So first, you will want to open up an account. You might already have a Pinterest account. You can change your current account into a business account if it's a personal account, or you can start a new business account. If you have lots of stuff and pins and boards and everything on your current one that you want to keep that doesn't fit with your business, then I would make a new one. You will want your account to be as specific to your niche as possible. So starting fresh will most likely be the best option for you. Next, you will want to claim your website domain. So this is what it will look like in your Pinterest account. Under settings in your account, you'll find a section that says claim, and you'll want to claim your website. Follow the instructions that it gives you. If you have a Show It website, then I know that they have a help doc that you can look to get help when it comes to actually claiming your website and what you have to do from there. And I'm sure the wonderful people there would help if you have any trouble with it. So claiming your website ensures that you get credit for all of your content that is on Pinterest. So even if someone pins a photo from your website without you knowing, your Pinterest business account will get credit for that pin, both through people knowing that it was you, it will say your name next to it, and it also helps your monthly view count. You will also want to claim any other social media websites that you have and use for the same reason, just so that if anyone is pinning your content from other places, it will be able to point back to you. So from here, you can set up your profile. I think generally we all know how to set up a profile, so I'll just go through this quick. You'll add a photo and a header image. The photo of you will matter more than the header image because that is how people will see and know you on the platform. The header image is only seen if someone goes to your actual Pinterest page, which doesn't happen a ton. Your name will also be seen right by your photo. So I recommend using your name or business name and also adding what you do, because that will be another way for people to find you. You will want to make sure your username is what you want it to be. Add what you do and what you offer in your profile. And as much as you can, use keywords pertaining to you and your business throughout your profile. So in your name, in the actual description of your profile, everything. And if you are a location-based business, then you will definitely want to add your location as well. Then you get into actually creating the board. So that was it. That was the whole setup part. And then you get to go into creating. So this is an example of my boards. There's not really a limit or a good number of boards that you need to do. You can create however many that you can fill with content. So try to keep it to boards that are mostly relevant to your business and your niche. You can break free on maybe one or two if it has something to do with who you are. So for example, I have a board that has quotes because I love quotes. I have a section on my website with quotes. I talk about them. I just love quotes. I love inspirational, happy things. So I do have a board for quotes on my Pinterest because it still ties into me and my brand a little bit. You should also keep in mind that you will be pinning other people's photos too. So for example, I have boards, separate boards for my own photos and then different boards for other people's photos. That's just the way that I've chosen to set it up. So I have every kind of category of session that I offer with my photos, and then the ones with other people's photos, I've titled them inspiration. I also share other people's photos in my what to wear boards for clients. You will want to have as niched down boards as possible. So instead of just a wedding photography board, you will want to have one that says wedding florals, wedding venues, wedding first looks. Get as specific as you can with types of boards. And also the look of your boards, maybe you already feel that way looking at mine. The look of your boards isn't as important as what and how often you are pinning. So your board aesthetic is nothing like your Instagram feed aesthetic. So you just don't have to put that much thought and care into that. You will also want to add descriptions to each board that say what the board entails. This hasn't appeared super important to me, but I do know that it is helpful. So let's get into what you need to know to start pinning. 15 to 25 pins per day is recommended for optimal growth. I know that is a lot, and that might feel impossible. I will say that I think it's easier for photographers, especially photographers who blog, but I do think that it's possible for anyone. It's going to be easier with a scheduling app like Tailwind or Planoly. I think there are others too. I'm just not as familiar with them. That way you are not manually pinning 15 to 25 times a day. And it's not mandatory, just recommended. So you could still be successful without pinning this often, but your chances are better the more that you pin. The more content, the better. So it's not like Instagram where you only want to put your best content forward. You want to put it all out there. It's like the lottery. Like you just don't know what is going to stand out to people the most, what's going to get seen the most. So you just want to put as much of it out there as you can and then see what people respond to. Remember, you can pin other people's content as well. So then that might help with reaching this many pins daily. You just want to make sure to always credit them. So make sure pins are leading where people expect them to lead. I don't know if you use Pinterest, you might have clicked a photo before and expected to get brought to a recipe or a craft or a blog post of photos, and then it was a broken link or it brought you somewhere else, and that can be super frustrating. So you want to make sure that the pins are leading where people think they're going to lead. So if you are pinning other people's content, you do want it to lead to their website. And so generally they say like 80% other people's content, or 80% your content, 20% other people's content. I probably do 70-30, 70% my content, 30% other people's content. And I know it might feel like, what's the point of that? Like, why am I pinning other people's content? But it does help you just pin more often. If it originates from your account, it helps your monthly view count, and then people will still see your page more often, and you're helping and supporting other people within your field too. Fresh pins are king. So Pinterest prioritizes fresh pins. Fresh pins are any content that they haven't seen before. So this means pins, videos, photos, anything they haven't seen on the app before. Even if something is mostly similar, their software might detect it as the same thing that you've posted before. I think something else you can do, and I haven't tested this, but I want to, you could delete content that doesn't perform well, that didn't get many views, and then repin it at a later time. And then I'm hoping that sort of bypasses the whole making it fresh content again would be the goal. Keep seasons in mind. So plan in advance. If most of my business comes from fall family photos, then I need to start pinning that type of content in the summer so that it can gain momentum by the fall. Also, expect your views to fluctuate. You will naturally go up and down in views because of seasons. Like I mentioned, summer is slower for people. People are vacationing, doing things. My content did the best in the fall last year because of family photos. That is, most of my content is family photos. That's what I do the most of. And so that's when my views were the highest. I also had a spike in this recent spring because of senior photos. So you want to keep seasons in mind when you are planning content, and also when giving yourself grace if you aren't getting the views that you expected to get or your pins aren't performing well. Vertical over horizontal images are preferred. Pinterest encourages vertical images, and they usually perform better. The recommended size is 1,000 by 1,500 with a 2/3 ratio, because horizontal images will appear smaller in every viewing device. And if you're a photographer, even if you're not, generally you would want your content to be visible as much as possible. So that's why vertical images would be better. You can create graphics in Canva. So if you go to Canva, I'm going to share about this a little bit more later as well. You can go to Canva and it will already have vertical graphics that you'll be able to use. And there are exceptions to the rule. Horizontal photos can still be successful. A few of my most popular pins were horizontal photos. But overall, as much as you can, you want to lean towards vertical images. Repins don't count toward your monthly views. So repinning other people's content won't help your view count or analytics. And monthly views aren't everything, but the more popular your content is, the more Pinterest knows that you're relevant, and they will push out your content to more people. So we do want to keep it in mind. It won't hurt you to repin. It doesn't hurt. Pinterest wants you to use their app and website just like any other app. So it's not going to hurt you if you're repinning, but it won't help your account get seen by more people. And remember, you can pin other people's content too. So as much as you can, rather than just repinning something, you want to try to create the pin yourself and have it originate from your account. So it doesn't have to be your content, but it has to be originally made from within your account. So just because it's someone else's work doesn't mean your only option is to repin it. You can head to their website and schedule, if you use Tailwind, you can schedule pins from there so that it is originating from your account. And if they claimed their website and set up their own Pinterest account the right way, then they will get credit, and we make sure that the links are going to the right place. Descriptions matter the most. So from my experience, the keywords in your descriptions is what is going to help you when people are searching. And remember, you don't have to be clever or cute. This isn't the place to share your favorite quote, to talk about how much you love your clients, or even really to share tips. Your description is best utilized being keyword heavy. So use as many keywords pertaining to your pin as possible. You will want to use both broad and specific keywords. So change family pictures to fall desert family pictures. You want to consider what people will be searching. So remember, it's a search engine. People are not searching, I loved working with this bride or family or venue. They are searching Phoenix venues, classic and elegant bridal gown, desert family photos. Overall, I have used keywords and not formed sentences in my own pin descriptions, and it has worked well for me. There might be some times where writing sentences would be better, like for text-heavy pins that are leading to an informational blog post, because then people will know based off the description what they'll be seeing and learning about when they click the pin. But even then, within those sentences, you would want to use as many keywords as possible. And hashtags are a thing on Pinterest, but I have never used them, and they're not at all necessary in order for new people to find your content. So it's not like Instagram in that way. Also, you will want to be location specific if your business is local. Then being location specific in your descriptions and all throughout your account will help people in your area find you. And that is actually one of the reasons that I was able to book a good amount of shoots from Pinterest, because where I live, Phoenix, tends to be a place where people vacation when it's colder in other places. And so people searched on Pinterest for Phoenix photographer or Scottsdale photographer. And then that is how they found me. And I was able to take their pictures while they were on vacation here. Here is a description example. So this is my actual description for one of my most viewed and repinned pins, which is this photo right here. It's not necessarily one that I thought was gonna be really successful on Pinterest. It's clear everyone likes their outfits, and I agree. She did an amazing job styling everyone's outfits. But you don't have to overthink it. You want to describe what is in the actual pin, and you can also add more of what people could expect from you, like family photography, things like that. So this is what my actual pin said. For this was my most repinned photo, viewed so many times in the fall last year. And this is all it said in the description. Leah Hope Photography. I add my business name into every description. My location, Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona. I described the scenery. It doesn't sound pretty. I mean, the way that I worded it, desert, landscape, cactus, boulder, scenery, family pictures, what to wear, family poses, family photos, coordinating outfits, family photo shoot outfit inspiration, how to dress, color scheme, brown, emerald green, and blue. I wrote that when I first started pinning, and I would probably write it a little differently now. Mostly I would just include more specific keywords and just more in general, because the more, the better. You can also do keyword research. So if you're wondering where to start when it comes to finding the best keywords, go to Pinterest and start searching for words that pertain to your business. So some of the most searched options will come up, and those are exactly the keywords that you could be putting into your description. So for example, if you type in family pictures, you'll see that people are searching for family pictures with baby, family picture summer, outfits with older kids, what to wear on wall with grandparents. If you type in wedding floral, you'll find people are searching for wedding floral arrangements, centerpieces, decor, arch, backdrops, crown. If you're a website designer, you can see people are searching for website design inspiration, layout, inspiration business, ideas, fashion, templates. And as you can see, when you're searching, users are coming up in the search option as well. So this is when it helps to add keywords into your name that you have on Pinterest. Lastly, you will want a scheduling app. So I already mentioned this before, something like Tailwind or Planoly. And I know there are others, I just don't know about them. This is what makes pinning daily manageable. because remember how many times a day I said is recommended for pinning. So this makes that actually possible. And this also helps you batch content, months worth of content at a time. And I'm going to share more of the how to actually walk through using Tailwind. I'm going to chat quickly about blogging though. I also do want to say, sure, technically you could pin as many times a day as you need without a scheduling app, but you would have to do it manually as much as you can, 15 to 25 times a day, if that's what you're going for. So getting a scheduling app will be the best option. So let's talk about why you should be blogging. So the first few reasons are ones that don't have to do with Pinterest. I just wanted to point them out because it is something that we should all be utilizing. It improves your chances of coming up through Google searches, especially if you are setting up your SEO the right way. It gives you the longest content lifespan. So remember that graph that I showed, a blog content's lifespan is over a year. So it is definitely where you can get the most reward for the time and energy that you're putting into it. Your blog belongs to you. Your website and your blog are yours. So if Instagram is glitching for days or Facebook shuts down, you still have your blog. It is social proof to show that you are a legitimate business. And I do think that it's a bit more professional than only being on social media. It also makes pinning 1,000 times easier. And you'll see why when I do a Tailwind walkthrough in a moment. And it is also the perfect place to point your viewers towards. So when you pin, you need a link for people to go to when they click on your pin. So this is ultimately the end goal of your pins. You are trying to get them to your website to buy your product or service, to learn more about you, and so on. So you could send them to your Instagram or a social media account, but it won't be as effective as sending them to a blog post with more of the content that they are looking for, and also where they can learn more about you and what you offer and get in touch. So you do not have to blog to be successful at Pinterest, but I do think it will take more time and energy if you don't. However, it will also take a good amount of time and energy to get your blog started if you don't have a blog. But once you do, then you are ready to go. This is where it might take more work upfront than in the long run. But like I mentioned, blogging is not just for the sake of Pinterest. That is just a perk. There are so many good reasons that we should be blogging. So we are going to do an actual walkthrough of what it would look like in your Tailwind account, because I don't want you to sign up for Tailwind and then get paralyzed, not know where to go from there, and then not continue your Pinterest journey. So after you sign up for Tailwind, you'll want to download the Tailwind extension. This will make it easy for you to pin photos from your blog or from any website that has photos and graphics. This slide shows you what it will look like when you're using the extension. If you go to a blog post, you'll want to make sure that the full blog post loads as much as it can. Scroll through it so that all the photos will show up in your queue here. And since I blogged correctly, my descriptions are already built in there because of the title tag that I entered while blogging. So now I don't have to enter a description for every single post. So you will select all the photos that you would like to pin, and I'm going to choose them all because if you remember, the more content, the better. So it's not like Instagram where you're only putting your best foot forward, your best content out there. Share anything and everything that you have. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it all. And then as you can see on the bottom right of your screen, hopefully that's how it's showing up for you. You'll click Go Schedule. And then you'll choose the board that you would like to pin to. So this is going to do all of these in bulk. So if you want to pin them to different boards, you'll need to schedule the pins separately. You can also pin them all to multiple boards. And then you will choose to schedule them all right now or to save them for later and add them to your drafts. This option is in the top right of the screen. I always choose save for later and add them to my drafts just so that I can go in there and double check everything. In this screen, this is also where you could change the title of your pins if you didn't title your blogs for SEO, like how I did not. However, I haven't changed any of my titles, and I didn't blog for SEO at the time because I didn't know about that then. And the pins are still doing okay, but I do think it would help if you change the titles to be keyword specific as well, because as many keywords as we can do is the best option. This is what it will look like in your scheduled pins section. I typically batch a couple months worth of content at a time, like I said, so that I'm pinning a variety of photos and not just all the same shoot at one time. So on the right side of the screen, you might see there's something that says shuffle queue. So after I pin a couple months worth of content, I shuffle the queue so that all the photos have been shuffled and it's not just pinning the same photos from one session, one after another. Also, while they're in drafts, you can make sure you have all the right descriptions, titles, that they're going to the right boards. If you have time, you can change the descriptions to be specific to every single pin. Also, I should have blogged these differently because now I have some horizontal ones, some collages. It would have been better to do all those separately as vertical images for the sake of Pinterest, which is basically why I'm blogging now, for the sake of Pinterest. So like I was saying, if you want, you can change your description to be super specific to each individual pin. So for example, even though this is a maternity session, it is technically a family shoot also. So if I wrote family photos in the description, that doesn't necessarily make sense on one that is just of the expecting mom. So I could go in and change that. However, I don't think this is essential. I didn't do this. I kept my same descriptions for a whole blog post because overall it will lead back to that blog post. Which will have everything that was in the keywords. And you want to make sure the links are going to the right place. So right now it looks like it only says that it's going to my website, but I did double check. And when I click it, it is going to the specific blog post. And then on the bottom right of the screen, you can click add and remove time slots. And this is where you will choose how often and when your pins will be published. So Tailwind, or I'm assuming other scheduling apps will do this as well, will let you know the best times of day for pinning. So I suggest just using what they suggest. This is also where you can choose how many times a day you want Tailwind to pin for you automatically. I have mine set to 23. Even though nothing is in my queue right now, so I need to work on that. But just start with what you can do. So 23 is a lot. If you want to start with 5 pins a day, that is better than no pins a day. Also, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, you can create pin graphics within Canva. So if you're thinking, what do I do? I'm not a photographer. I don't have tons of photos to use. This is for you. You can easily create pin graphics within Canva for free. So you would just search Pinterest graphics within Canva and hundreds of templates are already created and ready for you to use. Some of them don't even include photos if you feel like you don't even have any photos. However, I do believe that graphics with photos will perform a little bit better than ones without. So you could create 15 to 25 pins for one blog post or one Instagram post or piece of content and just slightly change the look of them. But we want to make sure that it's enough of a change that it will look different to the Pinterest algorithm. So I wouldn't just change the color. I would rearrange placement a little, change a photo, change the words, fonts, and And you want to do this because you want to try as many things as possible because, like I mentioned before, you never know what is going to stand out to people. So you don't know which design or colors or photo is going to grab someone's attention. So just do as much as you can. This link right here will give you a free month of Tailwind if you do want to try it. That is what I recommend. It's what I've used. There are other options that you can research as well. And so I pay $120 for Tailwind, and that is the only money that I have ever spent on Pinterest marketing. And it has ended up working out well for me. So you can screenshot this, take a picture of it, whatever you need to do if you want to get that free month. Start where you are. Remember, I said I like quotes. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. So I know this might all feel overwhelming, especially if you're not already blogging or you're not a photographer, but it is doable. So just take it one thing at a time. Start with a couple of pins a day. Start with one blog post a week. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. I don't have anything to sell you right now. I don't have a Pinterest course or a PDF, but I would love to help in any way that I can. So reach out if you have any questions, and I will do my best to answer them. I might not know them all. If there are questions that aren't answered by the end of this webinar, I will do what I can to help however I am able to. So you can find me at Leah Hope Photography on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope it has been helpful, and I would love to see so many of you succeed in the Pinterest world as well. And thank you so much to Showit for having me here.
Leah, I just love you so much. That was amazing. I know everyone on here just learned a ton. I'm sure everyone took down a ton of notes. I took down a ton of notes as well. And like I said, you're not a Pinterest strategist. There were some questions in the chat that might be more Pinterest specific. So Leah will answer your questions as she can. But man, so good. So everyone, let Leah catch a breath here. You did so awesome. Let's dive into the Q&A. So our sweet Jed is going to throw up a question on here. I want to say the first one's probably from Buoyant Marketing. And the question was, when pinning 15 to 25 times per day, can each pin direct back to the same link, or does each pin have to have a unique link each time? It's a great question.
That's a great question. They can all go back to the same link. And like I mentioned, you want the links to go to where people expect it to go. So if I'm posting 40 photos from one blog post, I want it to go to that exact blog post URL so that people know where they are going. So I do not believe that Pinterest punishes you for sending things to the same link multiple times, because they want you to send people where they are expecting to go.
So good, so good. And we're also getting a lot of questions on if this is going to be replayed. I don't know if people have to leave. Yes, you can rewatch it at this link. Watch it as many times as you want. All of our webinars are posted. So if you've ever wanted to watch any of our other webinars, it's on there. And so, yes, you can catch this one too. So next question we have here is, let me see, what do we got? From Cassie, if you aren't a service provider, is it still useful for location, or would you recommend different keywords? It's a great question too.
I mean, I don't think it would hurt you to add your location, because why not have people in your area find you? But I would probably get more niche down and specific into keywords having to pertain with your product or whatever it is that you do have.
Love it, love it. And then Stefan, I'm sorry if I ruined your name. With someone named Jihei should never get other people's names wrong, so I apologize for that. But the question was, do you write different keywords for each of these photos?
So I did mention that a little bit. I haven't, and it has ended up working out okay for me. So I copy and paste the same description into every photo from one blog. So that can work for you. However, if you have the time, you could absolutely go in and make it specific to every single pin that you have in there.
That's awesome. So like, I love the example of that you gave of the emerald dress. So people are looking for, different tips on like, oh, what should I wear to a family, portrait photography session? So those would be applicable to that. But then obviously if there isn't the emerald dress in there, or if it doesn't go to that blog post, you're going to want to change up those keywords. But great question. So Perennial Brand asked, do you copy and paste? Yes, we actually just answered that, so that's good. So the descriptions. Yeah. And then Perennial also asked, are you worried about your photos being used elsewhere? Do you pin photos that include your logo? That's a great question.
So I don't. I've never watermarked my photos or added logos on them. I'm not really worried about people stealing them. The only reason that I wouldn't like it is if someone purchased a session from a photographer claiming that they were going to be getting photos that looked like mine and it wasn't, then I would feel bad for those people. But ultimately, you do want to make sure that your links are set up correctly so that it is heading back to your website. So that would be the goal. So then if people are repinning your content that you pinned from your website, even if there is no watermark or logo on it, it should bring people to your website, which is then the ultimate goal. If you feel better, go ahead and add a watermark or a logo or whatever it is. It just hasn't been something that I've been worried about particularly.
Love it. Okay, and then we have another question here from Laura. She is an interior designer, so that's great. So she says, I'm not clear on how to pull up the blog post on Tailwind so that all the photos load at once. So what does that look like for you?
So, yes, so that was one of the screenshots within the presentation. So if you are on a blog post of yours, you will have a Tailwind extension. So once you sign up for Tailwind, there will be an extension you can download so that it shows up as a little icon on the top of your Google Chrome or Safari or whatever it is. And so you'll press that and it will automatically load all the photos from that web page that you are on. So you could like give it a little scroll so that all the pictures fully load. And then from there, it shows up every single photo from that URL, that web page, and you just click every single one that you would want to pin. And then you schedule it from there.
Okay, love that.
Insert that.
All right, this might be our last question as we're like getting to that hour mark. So Lena, I'm going to go with Lena. I'm sorry again. How are you pinning 15 per day when the $120 a year plan only allows 100 pins per month?
Is that for Tailwind?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's a Tailwind question.
Maybe that's something that has altered recently.
Yeah, I feel like our Tailwind doesn't have that.
As far as I know, I have like the full Pinterest plan on Tailwind, which is unlimited pins, and it showed up as 120 a year for me when I double checked. So I'm not sure if they have changed that recently.
Okay. Caitlin W., thank you for your input here. She says the Plus account, which is $120 a year, actually lets you schedule 400 pins per month. So that's great to know. So thank you, Caitlin, for jumping in on that. Yeah. I love it. Okay, so friends, if you asked a question that Leah did not get to, she can be found easily on Instagram or other social media platforms. We can also add her email address if she wants to answer your questions there. We also have another webinar that we did earlier last year, and that is with a Pinterest strategist. So she might answer some other questions you may have. But I do feel like, Leah, you did such an incredible job of just walking us through what it looks like and that it's really not that hard. And I love that you said, like, you just spend a couple of days every couple of months and you just batch it. And that's the beauty of Tailwind. None of us are sponsored by Tailwind. But, you just use it. You pay for it. You use it. It's fantastic with Leah's link that she had in her presentation, you can get a free month of Tailwind, so you can try it out. And I know earlier someone was saying that, they were having a hard time with Tailwind and they basically dropped like 0 views. And like you said, there are seasons though. And I definitely feel like summer is a super low season because people are out doing their thing. Thank you so much for your time and just the amount of preparation you put into putting this bad boy together. It was phenomenal. You did a great job. Friends, thank you so much for tuning in. We are just so thankful that you guys were so interactive today. You had so many questions and you guys were helping each other out, which is awesome. So, we're all doing the best we can with what we've got here. But Leah is definitely throwing us a fish here so that we can do better on Pinterest. But again, she is not a strategist. This is not something that she does. She is a photographer. And for you guys, if you have beautiful images available to you, whether you're in the wedding industry or whatever have you, it's a visual search engine, Pinterest. And so you guys are going to win. If you guys have great pictures, then that's great. But if you don't, you can still win on Pinterest by doing all of the other tips that Leah had for us. So we just want to wish you all the best of luck on Pinterest land. And yeah, we're all in this together. So this is fantastic. But Leah, thanks again. You are awesome. We're so thankful to have you in the community and just willing to just share what has worked for you. And you're amazing. And we love you.
Thank you for having me. And seriously, anyone can reach out to me with any question. I don't promise I'll have the answers, but I will try.
Excellent. I love it. All right. Have a great day, everyone.